I'm starting the journey of destimulating myself. At first, I thought that I was just overstimulated because of my phone and my social media usage and just instant access to all kinds of distractions. But what I am learning is that I'm actually overstimulated in many different areas of my life. So recently, last week, I did my morning ritual that I always do, which is wake up and make a latte and chug it and then think about breakfast like an hour or two later. But I drank my coffee and I got super jittery. I got super anxious. I could feel my heart beating. I could hear my heart beating. And it was not a pleasant feeling at all. And so it made my morning coffee ritual a very anxious experience. And I took that as a sign that maybe I'm overstimulating my nervous system first thing in the morning by consuming too much caffeine right when I wake up, or maybe I'm consuming too much caffeine in general all day. And so I have traded my morning coffee ritual for green tea, which does still have caffeine, but it is a lot lighter than coffee. I think other areas that we overstimulate our body is through the foods that we eat. We will eat foods that are unfamiliar to our body or hard to digest. And so what I'm trying to be more intentional about recently is just living life with less stimulation and noticing how that feels for my body and my brain and my nervous system, because we don't always have to live life in fight or flight or always be in a hurry. And I know that our culture glamorizes that and glamorizes burnout and glamorizes a certain path to success, but that is not the only way. And you can still practice balance and be an extremely achieved person. I've been trying to think about breakfast less as a quick pit stop and more of the foundation for how my body feels for the rest of the day. And instead of immediately reaching for something cold or sugary or ultra processed, I start my mornings with something warm and nourishing like this miso egg drop bone broth soup. Especially when we're trying to support our gut, warm foods are a lot gentler on our digestion first thing in the morning. And protein, minerals, and amino acids help support our energy, our gut health, and our body composition. I think we've normalized rushing through breakfast, eating in the car, or skipping meals altogether and just starting the day already overstimulated. But the body responds so much differently when we slow down and actually nourish it. Digestion isn't just about what you eat. It's also about the state your body is in when you're eating it. And I've noticed that when I begin the day with something warm and nutrient dense, I feel more energized, I feel less inflamed, and I feel like I'm supporting my digestion. I've been learning a lot recently about body composition, and one thing I've realized is that you're not always going to see progress right away. And honestly, it can feel really frustrating, and you can start doubting yourself and wondering if what you're doing is even working. Because sometimes you're doing all the right things and you can feel your energy is improving, your digestion is getting better, you're sleeping better, you're building muscle, you're even lowering inflammation, but the number on the scale is barely changing. And that's because there are so many other things changing inside of your body just beyond your weight, like your muscle mass and your body fat percentage. I think a lot of people get discouraged because they're only tracking the number on the scale. And sometimes the scale honestly won't move for weeks and even months. And that's why I'm super excited about the sponsor of today's video, Hume Health. I started using the Hume Health Body Pod because it goes way beyond a traditional digital scale and gives you so much more of a complete picture on what's happening inside of your body. It measures things like body fat percentage, muscle mass, hydration, visceral fat, and metabolic age, so you can actually understand how your body is responding to your habits over time. For me personally, two metrics I've been really paying attention to are my body fat percentage and my muscle mass. because your weight can technically stay the same while your body composition is completely changing. One thing I also love about the Hume Pod is that it uses 8 frequency sensors to scan your full body composition with really high accuracy, similar to expensive body scans that you'd get at a wellness clinic, except that this one is portable and can be done at your home. Their app is super easy to use, it's AI powered, and it helps you track trends over time so you can stop guessing and actually understand what habits are helping your body feel and function better. Because at the end of the day, using real data and context to understand your body can help you make decisions and stay motivated even when progress feels slow. If you guys want to check out the Hume Health Body Pod, I'll leave it listed in the description below. My code Ellison also stacks on top of their current sale, so you can save up to 50% off, but it's only valid for 7 days, so check it out in the description. And if you have an HSA or FSA, you may be able to use those health benefits towards it. It is 9:15 and I made myself a latte, and I hope I don't get jittery because I've now let myself wake up naturally. I've had breakfast, but we will see. For lunch, I made a chicken shawarma bowl with rice, herbs, vegetables, and a lot of warming spices. The food that we eat is not just calories or macros, but it's information for the body. And every ingredient we eat is interacting with our digestion, our energy, our hormones, and our gut microbiome. One thing I've noticed is that meals built around real ingredients tend to make the body feel supported instead of overwhelmed. The fiber from the vegetables and herbs help support the gut microbiome, which we know influences everything from our digestion to inflammation and even our hormones and mood. Protein gives the body enough amino acids it needs to repair and build tissue and support muscle and even maintain a healthy body composition. And even the spices in meals like this, things like cumin and turmeric, garlic, and ginger, have compounds that have been studied for their role in digestion, circulation, inflammation, and overall metabolic health. I think we underestimate how important it is to protect the gut lining itself. Our digestive system is constantly interacting with everything we consume. And when we're living off ultra-processed foods, or we're eating too fast, or we're constantly stressing our bodies out, it can really affect how well we digest and absorb nutrients. And I'm not saying I eat perfectly all the time, but I'm trying to eat in a way that makes my body feel safe and nourished and resilient. And I think my body has been responding to that. One thing I've completely changed my perspective on over the last few years is exercise. I used to think of movement mostly about burning calories or making myself look a certain way, but now I see it more as building a stronger, more capable body for the rest of my life. When it comes to body composition, what you eat absolutely matters, but so does the signal you send your body through movement. Strength training tells your body to maintain and build lean muscle, which is incredibly important for our metabolism, longevity, our hormone health, bone density, and our body composition. I think a lot of women are scared of strength training because we've been taught that lifting weights will make us bulky, when in reality, muscle is one of the most protective things we can build for long-term health. Learning the basics of progressive overload training can completely change how your body feels and functions and looks. Because the goal of movement isn't punishment, it's teaching the body to become more resilient and stronger. When it comes to protein, I also try to be mindful of quality, which is why I've used ButcherBox for the past 2.5 years. They source high-quality meat without added hormones or unnecessary antibiotics. It's a brand that I have used long before becoming an affiliate partner, and if you want to check them out, I'll have the link in the description. The way I like to cook this roast is I like to get my cast iron pretty much as hot as it will get. Right now I have my stove on full blast and it is literally so hot. I know that my cast iron is as hot as it's gonna get when it starts smoking. We're almost there. Once it's like super hot, I take butter and I put it in and then I quickly sear every side of the piece of meat. And the reason that I do this is because it adds a lot of flavor before putting it in the slow cooker to
actually cook it. You could also sear it on each side and then put it in the oven and roast it. Make sure you have some tongs on hand before doing this, and preferably metal tongs like this. You're only gonna sear that for like a minute and a half total because you don't want to start cooking it too much. We're just trying to get a nice like golden brown kind of color. Now we're gonna add everything into the slow cooker. That's gonna add more flavor to the meat. But I just wanted to say the reason that I used butter over olive oil is just because of the smoke point, because I'm getting the cast iron so hot that I don't want the chemical compounds basically to change in the olive oil and start breaking down, which is why I chose butter, which is really stable, and also beef tallow is really stable. So for super high heats, you want to use something like that. I'm gonna add some onion on the bottom layer, the remaining of the shallot, the leftover carrot, and then 5 pieces of garlic. Now we're coming in with our roast. We're gonna do bone broth. We don't need to cover the entire piece of meat, but if you can cover it like halfway, then that will be good. I'm gonna take some tomato paste and kind of smear it all over the meat and then flip it over. And then for spices, we're doing a little bit of paprika, salt, pepper, thyme, and oregano. The meat ended up cooking perfectly at 2 hours, and I think I would even do like an hour and 30 minutes and try that too, but it's honestly perfect. I'm just warming this up. We're really not cooking anything. I'm about to throw this in the blender, and we're making sort of like a mashed white bean, similar to like a mashed potato moment. I've always loved charred vegetables, but I recently learned that just charring things absolutely black is actually not very good for your gut, and it's just not very good for you in general. It could cause a lot of inflammation and oxidative stress. And so I'm going to try to not overcook these, because when you overcook your vegetables, you also lose a lot of the nutrients in them. I saw this photo on Pinterest and it's had a chokehold on me ever since, so I'm gonna make it. It's like butter dates with yogurt and cinnamon. I'm such a sweets girly, and I have to finish the day with something sweet. I found these dates at Sprouts, and they are the best dates that I've ever had. They just taste amazing. This is my new favorite dessert. Wow. Oh my god.